The first instruction is we already have this file copied, and then we need to rename them to these two names, right? So let's do that. And then we have this ASG0. If I try to run this now, it's not going to work. Why is that? Because in the HTML file, the name of the JavaScript file is changed, but we did not do that, right? So I'm going to open both of them with Atom. So I want to open this, even though this is coming from another publisher. I know the risk, so fine. So now we have this HTML file and this JavaScript file that is from the book. And why it was not running? Because you can see here the source is still using the old name, draw rectangle, but our name is now ASG0. So ASG0, just rename this. And now if I try to run this, it shows me this rectangle, the blue rectangle. And let's take a quick look at the code. So what is happening here? So we have this HTML file and we have this JavaScript file with main function. We're using this concept called canvas. This is something you need to read from the book. So canvas is the 2D area where we draw our objects. So we have this canvas here. There is a hidden block around it, but this is practically our area where you can draw something. Then what is happening? We have a name for the ID, for the canvas. The ID is example, right? We can, let's say this CNV1 or canvas1. Then I can call this by canvas1, CNV1, right? Through the same thing. Sorry about that. I believe so. Always open the console and see failed to retrieve the canvas element. So canvas is not properly named. Why is that? Oh, it was not saved. Now it is working. So that was the problem. Okay, so we have this canvas ID. The width is 400 and the height is 400. That is defined in the HTML. And then we're collecting or you're retrieving this canvas element in our JavaScript. Then we are drawing 2D objects here. So as you can see, this variable ctx is a variable that is getting the context of the 2D. Then inside the ctx, we're creating a rectangle. This rectangle is this blue rectangle, right? And the fill style is blue. So what is the task here? The task is to, first we need to create a library, directory called lib. Here we'll create our library. So I'm just following the instruction and then creating a new directory. And lib. Inside the lib, I'm going to download this file. So this is going to be our JavaScript library, which we are going to use a lot. So this library has a lot of functions that you need to complete. I'll talk about that later, but first let me download that. So I'm going to save as inside the lib. I'm saving this JavaScript file, right? And then we need to load the library. So we need to use the script tag somehow. So we already have a script tag here. Adding another is just copying this line. And then the name of the file is This is a bit longer, so I'm copying the name. But this is not going to work, right? Why is that? Because this is in a different directory inside lib. So I need to use the, so if I try to run this, it will throw me an error. And first, of course, save this. So this means it is not saved, the blue dot. Now this is saved. So if I try to run this, you can see file not found error. So it is in the lib. Now it is found. At least the error is gone. That's what we want to do. So that was the first task. Then you need to create a line, right? Line like this. And then eventually you'll have to create user interface like this and buttons and everything. So let me first create this black background. How can we do that? So we can fill the whole canvas with the rectangle. Right? So I have this blue rectangle. Let me make this black. How can we do that? We can so the width and height of our canvas is 400 by 400. So I can make the rectangle full, the same size of the canvas. So let's start from 0, 0. That will start from 0, 0. From here, now we can make this larger. So we can manually make this 400, which is a not very good thing, but still it will fill the screen, the location where I want to draw object. And this is black, so let me change the color to black. So I am going to make this 0. Now this is black. Why we're going to draw our lines, right? And the smarter way of doing this is I want to use this canvas. I know the width and height of the canvas, so I'm going to use this canvas, and then I'm going to get its width, and then I'm going to use this canvas, and then I'm going to get its height. So this is the area where we will draw these lines, right? And what about the user interface? This is, we have these resources here. So you're going to use this input element from HTML. That's why we learned HTML, right? Because HTML is going to be the thing we need to use a lot. So we are going to use, I can copy this directly from the example given here. And if I add that to my canvas, just below my canvas, maybe here is fine, or even after here is fine. And then I have this input now, right? Which is similar to the V1 and V2. I can easily name it to V1. Okay. And let me use a break here. To make it look better. And what about the other element that is already given here? That is the select, right? So the example here, it has this option like dog, cat. We need to replace that with the add, multiplication, subtraction, other things. So let me copy the whole thing. So what is our, we have this operation, right? So I can just call it operation. And then let's first run this. So you see, it's showing me all these options which I want to change. before that, I want to add another break. Okay, then I'm going to remove most of them. You can change the ID. You can do that later. I'm going to add and sub, addition and subtraction, only these two options, and see if that works. Okay, where is not working? Let's try again. Oh, so I should also change the value here. So now it's closer to what you need to do, right? So if you follow the instructions, you'll see eventually the first thing is you need to get some input from this. And how to get an input? Let's say I want to have a button, and once I click the button, it will do something, right? For example, for number 3, you can have a function called handle draw event. So if I call this function with click of a button, so let's create the function. And inside that function, let's just print something. So what can we print? Maybe print something that we're taking input from here. Like if I do hello, then I will click the button and it will print the hello in the console. Let me open the console. Right now the console is empty. So here I want to print that inside that function. So let me create a variable. Let v1, and I want to get this thing by ID, right? This text box. So I am going to use document get element by ID, then the name, right? And then I can get the value from here. And then I'm going to do console log inside the console log. I'm going to print the v1 once the function is called, right? Let me call the function directly here without any button and see if that works. So it should print everything I have in that button, right? In the text box. So I don't have anything, so it will not work. Let's still try. So it's doing nothing. That's why we need to call this function somehow with linked to a button. That's what I can do. But first, let me add a button. So button is another input type. I'm going to add input type. Part of HTML. So button is here. And then I can do on click. I can call this function. Right? And then in the tag, I like to use this to be safe. Let's see what happens. So button has no name. So let's add a name to the button, value. So something is showing up here, but I don't have anything here. So let me type in something. 1500, 1000. So it is printed here, right? If I add something like a string, print it here. So I can take input and then print it here. Okay, so starting from here, what we're going to do, we're going to see how we can draw a line in this black area, which is now the size of our canvas, right? Because we drew the rectangle with the same size of the canvas. So what we want to do, once we click on the button, there will be line drawn here. Maybe you can draw the line from the center of the canvas by calculating that. So the center of the canvas is half of the height and the half of the width. So this is the center. We can draw a line from here to a different point that we can randomly define. And that I want that to happen once you use this click me. So for now, let me open the console. If I put something here, it will show it here, right? So the additional task is going to be the line drawing. So this is obvious since I want to draw the line after clicking the button. So the task of drawing the line should be done inside this function, right? So I want to write my code right here for drawing the line. So we are going to use a few functions, few predefined functions inside Canvas that can draw the line. So let's see how we can do that. So the first thing is I need to calculate the center of the canvas, right? So I want to draw the line from here. Then I will define some random value to draw the line to. So let me call Cx as the x coordinate of the center. And with this canvas and then this white. And then we can make it half to calculate the center, right? And then similarly, Cy is the center y coordinate, and I'm going to use canvas again, then height, and dividing that by 2. So now I have my center. I can use that to draw a line from the center. So I'm going to use a function that is similar to this fill rect, right? But this function is for drawing a line. So I'm going to use this function called ctx dot begin path. So the path is similar to a line. So a line is a path from a starting point to an ending point. Right? Then I'm going to move my path to the center. So move 2. And then I'm going to use my center, the one I just calculated. And then I'm going to draw the line to this place, which is some random point in the canvas. So if we want to maybe move some point in the plus axis of x and maybe down below. So just so that you know that we start from here. So this is the 0 for the actual canvas, but now we are sort of defining this new coordinate system where we are moving the 0 to here. So if we start with 0 from here, this is the plus, right? So if you go down, if we add something, that will go down. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some random number, say 75, to the x. So this is the location of the new x coordinate, and then cy. I'm going to add some number with the y coordinate, right? So I'm going to draw the line to this place. And then I'm going to use a function called stroke. So this stroke is going to draw the line for it. So we need another property of the stroke. For example, when we did the fill rect, we had to define a style, which is the color of the background. Okay? So we defined black as the color of the background, but we need to define a color for the stroke. So let's do that even before starting the drawing. So I'm going to do this stroke style, and then I'm going to define that. Then after saving the code, we are back here, refreshing, and then I'm using something maybe hello and clicking here. So you can see there is a line that is drawn from the center, and it is going up to 75 around x-axis, along x-axis, and 50 along the y-axis. So this is how you can draw a line, and that is going to be useful for drawing many of the vector related outputs. So we are out of time. I'm going to stop here, but I'll answer questions in the office hour, which is going to be pretty soon.